Morning. It's Saturday morning, and I am 3 days behind on the reading. So I'm going to do my best to catch us up in one fell swoop. I apologize for being behind. I don't have any real excuse other than once you get behind, you get behind. You know what I mean? So here we go. We're going to start in Genesis chapter 45. Then Joseph could not restrain himself before all those who stood by him, and he cried out, "Make everyone go out in front of me." So no one stood with him while Joseph made himself known to his brothers. And he wept out aloud, and the Egyptians and the house of Pharaoh heard it. Then Joseph said to his brothers, "I am Joseph. Does my father still live?" But his brothers could not answer him, for they were dismayed in his presence. And Joseph said to his brothers, "Please come near to me." So they came near, and he said, "I am Joseph, your brothers, whom you sold to Egypt. But now do not therefore be grieved or angry with yourselves because you sold me here. For God sent me before you to preserve life. For these 2 years the famine has been in the land, and there are still 5 years in which there will be neither plowing nor harvesting. And God sent me before you to preserve a posterity for you in the earth and save your lives by a great deliverance. So now it was you who sent me here, was not you who sent me here, but God. And he has made me a father to Pharaoh and a lord in all his house and ruler through all of the land of Egypt. And hurry up and go to my father and say thus, your son Joseph, God has made me Lord over the land of Egypt. Come down and do not tarry. You shall dwell in the land of Goshen, and you shall be near me, and your children, and your children's children, and your flocks, and your herds, and all you have. There I will provide for you, lest you and your household and all you have come to poverty. For there are still 5 years of the famine. And behold, your eyes and the eyes of my brother Benjamin see that it is my mouth that speaks to you. You shall tell my father of all the glory in Egypt and all that you have seen, and you shall hurry and bring my father down here. And he fell on his brother Benjamin's neck, and he wept, and Benjamin wept on his neck. And moreover, he kissed all his brothers and wept over them. And after that, his brothers talked with him. Now, now the report of it was heard in Pharaoh's house. Joseph's brothers have come. So it pleased Pharaoh and all his servants well. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, say to your brothers, do this, load your animals and depart to the land of Canaan, and bring your father and your household, and come to me, and I will give you the best of the land of Egypt, and you will eat the fat of the land. And now you are commanded to do this. Take carts out of the land of Egypt for your little ones and your wives, and bring your father and come. And do not be concerned about your goods, for the best of all the land of Egypt is yours. Then the sons of Israel did, and Joseph gave them carts according to the command of Pharaoh. And he gave them provisions for the journey, and he gave all to them, each man changed his garment. But Benjamin he gave 100 pieces of silver and 5 changes of garment. And he sent to his father these things: 10 donkeys loaded with good things of Egypt, and female donkeys loaded with grain and bread and food for his father's journey. And he went and sent his brothers away, and they departed. And he said to them, see that you do not become troubled along the way. And they went up out of Egypt and came to the land of Canaan to Jacob their father. And they told him, saying, Joseph is still alive, and he is the governor of the land of Egypt. And Jacob's heart stood still because he did not believe them. But they told him all the words that Joseph had said to them. And when he saw the carts which Joseph sent to carry him, the spirit of Jacob their father was revived. And then Israel said, it is enough that Joseph my son is still alive. I will go and see him before I die. And so Israel took the journey. We're in Genesis 46 now. And so Israel took the journey that he had, and he came to Beersheba and offered sacrifices to the God and the father of Isaac. Then God spoke to Israel in the vision of the night and said, Jacob, Jacob. And he said, here I am. So he said, I am the God of your father. Do not fear. Go down to Egypt, for I will make you a great nation, and I will go with you to Egypt, and you will surely bring up again, and Joseph will put his hand on your eyes. And then Jacob arose from Beersheba, and the sons of Israel uh, carried their father Jacob and their little ones and their wives in the carts that Pharaoh sent to carry him. So they took their livestock and their goods which they had acquired in the land of Canaan and went to Egypt, and all the descendants with him, and the sons and his sons and daughters, and his sons and daughters and his descendants, he brought them out to Egypt. Now these were the names of the children of Israel, the Jacob and his sons who went to Egypt. Reuben was Jacob's firstborn. The son of Reuben were Hanah, and Palu, and Herzon, and Kemurai. And the sons of Simeon were Jemuel, Jamin, Ohad, Jachin, Zohar, and Shaul, the son of the Canaanite woman. And the sons of Levi were Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. The sons of Judah were Onan, Shelah, Perez, Zerah. But and Onan died in the land of Canaan. The sons of Perez were Haran and Himul. The sons of Issachar were Tola and Puva, Job and Shimron. The sons of Zebulun were Sirid, Elion, Jelhiel. And these were the sons of Leah, whom she bore to Jacob in Pardan Aram, with the daughter Dinah, and all of his sons and his daughters were 33. And the sons of Gad were Ziphon, Haggai, Shunai, Esbon, Eri, Arodai, Arieli. The sons of Asher were Jema, Ishu, Bera, and the sons of Sarah, their sisters. And the sons of Bera were Heber, Machel. And these were the sons of Ziphah, who Laban gave to Leah his daughter, and she bore to Jacob 16 persons. And the sons of Rachel, Jacob's wives, were the sons of Joseph and Benjamin. And Joseph in Potphera, priest of On, bore to him the sons of Benjamin, were Bela, Becher, Eshbil, Gera, Ehi, Rosh, Muppin, Humpin, and Ard. These were the sons of Rachel, who bore to Jacob 14 persons in all. And the sons of Dan were Husham. The sons of Naphtali were Jahaz, Gunner, Jerez, and Shillem. And these were the sons of Bilhah, who Laban gave Rachel his daughter, and she bore Jacob 7 persons in all. And all the persons went with Jacob to Egypt, who came from his body, besides Jacob's sons' wives, were 66 persons in all. And the sons of Joseph were born to him in Egypt were 2 persons. And the persons of the house of Jacob who went into Egypt were 70. Then Judah Then he sent Judah before him to Joseph to point out before him the way to Goshen, and they came to the land of Goshen. So Joseph made ready his chariot and went up to Goshen to meet his father Israel. And he presented himself to him and fell on his neck and wept his neck a good while. And Israel said to Joseph, Now let me die, since I have seen your face, because you are still alive. Then Joseph said to his brothers, and to his father's household, I will go and tell Pharaoh and say to him, My brothers and those of my father's house were in the land of Canaan and have come to me, and the men are shepherds, for their occupation has been to feed livestock, and they have brought their flocks and their herds and all they have. So it shall be when Pharaoh calls you and says, What is your occupation? That you shall say, Your servant's occupation has been with livestock from our youth even till now. Both we and our fathers, you may dwell in the land of Goshen, for every shepherd is an abomination to Egyptians. Genesis 47. And Joseph went and told Pharaoh, My father and brothers and their flocks and herds, and all they possess have come to me from the land of Canaan. Indeed, are in the land of Goshen. And he took 5 men from among his brothers and presented them to Pharaoh. Then Pharaoh said to his brothers, What is your occupation? And Pharaoh said, Your servants are shepherds, both we and also our fathers. And they said to Pharaoh, We have come to dwell in the land because your servants have no pastures for their flock, for the famine is severe in the land of Canaan. Therefore, please let your servants dwell in the land of Goshen. Then Pharaoh spoke to Joseph, saying, Your fathers and your brothers have come to you. The land of Egypt is before you. Have your father and brothers dwell in the best of the land, and let them dwell in the land of Goshen. And you know any competent men among them, then make them chief herdsmen over the livestock. Then Joseph brought in his father and set him before Pharaoh, and Jacob blessed Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to Jacob, How old are you? And Jacob said to Pharaoh, The days and the years of my pilgrimage are 130 years. Few and evil have been the days of the years of my life, and they have not attained the days of the years of my life of my fathers and the days of their pilgrimage. So Jacob blessed Pharaoh and went out from before Pharaoh. And Joseph situated his father and his brothers and gave them possessions in the land of Egypt, in the best of the land of Ramses, and Pharaoh had commanded. Then Joseph provided his fathers and his brothers and his household with bread according to the number of the family. Now there was no bread in all the land, for the famine was very severe, so that the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan had language because of the famine. And Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of the Egyptians and the land of Canaan for the grain which they brought. And Joseph brought the money into Pharaoh's house. So when the money failed in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, the Egyptians came to Joseph and said, Give us bread, for why should we die in your presence? For the money has failed. And then Joseph said, Give your livestock, and I will give you bread for your livestock. And the money is gone. So they brought their livestock to Joseph, And Joseph gave them bread in exchange for horses and flocks of cattle and herds, for donkeys, and thus he fed them with bread in exchange for their livestock. When that year had ended, they came to him the next year and said, "We will not hide from my lord that our money is gone. My lord also has our herds of livestock. There is nothing left in the sight of my lord but our bodies and our lands. Why should we die before your eyes, both we and our land? Buy us and our land for bread, and we and our land will serve be servants of Pharaoh. Give us seed that we may live and not die, that the land may not be desolate." Then Joseph brought all of the land of Egypt for Pharaoh, for every man of the Egyptians sold his field because the famine was severe upon the land. So the land became Pharaoh's. And as for the people, he moved them into cities from one end of the borders of Egypt to the other. And only the land of the priest did not buy, for the priests had rations allotted to them by Pharaoh, and they ate their rations which Pharaoh As for all the people that moved into the cities of the borders of Egypt from one end to the other, and the priests did not buy, for the priests had rations allotted to them by Pharaoh, and they ate their rations which Pharaoh had given them, and they did not sell their lands. Then Joseph said to the people, "Indeed, I bought your land this day for Pharaoh. Look, here is seed for you, and go and sell the land. And it shall come to pass that in the harvest you shall give 1/5 to Pharaoh, 4/5 shall be your own, as the seed for your field, and for your food for those of your household, and as food for your little ones." And they said, "You have saved our life. Let us find favor in the sight of the Lord, and we will be Pharaoh's servants." And Joseph made it land all over Egypt to this day, that Pharaoh should have 1/5, except for the land of the priests, only which did not become Pharaoh's. Joseph's vow to Jacob. So Israel dwelt in the land of Egypt, in the country of Goshen, and had possessions, and they grew a multitude exceedingly. And Jacob lived in the land of Egypt for 70 years. So the length of Jacob's life was 147 years. And when the time drew near for that Israel must die, he called his son Joseph and said to him, "Now if I have found favor in your sight, please put your hand under my thigh and deal kindly and truly with me. Please do not bury me in Egypt, but let me lie with my fathers. You shall carry me out of Egypt and bury me in their burial place." And he said, "I will do as you have said." And then he said, "Swear to me." And he swore to him. So Israel bowed himself on the head of the bed. Okay, so that was Wednesday. And now we're moving to Thursday, which is Genesis 48. And now it came to pass after these things that Jesus was told, "Indeed, your father is sick." And he took him with his own two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. And Jacob was told, "Look, your son Joseph is coming to you." And Israel strengthened himself and sat up on the bed. Then Jacob said to Joseph, "God Almighty appeared to me at Luz in the land of Canaan and blessed me and said to me, Behold, I will make you fruitful and multiply and I will make you a multitude of people and give you this land and your descendants after you in everlasting possession. And now your two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, who were born to you in the land of Egypt before I came to you in Egypt are mine, as Reuben and Simeon, and they shall be mine, and your offspring of whom you beget after me shall be yours. They will be called by the name of their brothers in inheritance. But as for me, when I came from Padan, Rachel died beside me in the land of Canaan on the way. And there was but a little distance to go to Ephraim, and I buried her there on the way to Ephraim, and that is Bethlehem. Then Israel saw Joseph's son and said, Who are these? And Joseph said to his father, These are my son, whom God has given me in this place. And he said, Please bring them to me, and I will bless them. And now the eyes of Israel were dim with age, that he could not see. So Joseph brought them near, and he kissed them, and he embraced them, and he said to Joseph, I had not thought to see your face, but in fact, God has also shown me your offspring. So Joseph brought them from beside his knees and bowed them with his face to the earth. And Joseph took them both, Ephraim with his right hand towards Israel's left hand, and Manasseh with his left hand towards Israel's right hand. He brought them near to him, and he stretched out his right hand and laid it on Ephraim, and his left hand, who was the younger, and his left hand on Manasseh, guiding his hand knowingly, for Manasseh was the firstborn. And he blessed Joseph and said, God before my fathers Abraham and Isaac walked, the God who has fed me with life long this day, the angel who redeemed me from all evil and blessed the lads, let my name be named upon them, and the name of my father Abraham Isaac, and let them grow into a multitude in the midst of the earth. Now, now when Joseph saw that he laid his right hands on Ephraim's head, he it displeased him. So he took a hold of his father's hands and removed it from Ephraim's head to Manasseh's head. And Joseph said to his father, Not for not so, my father, for this one is the firstborn. Put your right hand on his head. But his father refused and said, I know, my son, I know. He also shall become a people, and he also shall be great. But truly the younger brother shall be greater than he, and his descendants shall become a multitude of nations. So he blessed them that day, saying, By you Israel will be blessed, saying, My God will make you as Ephraim and Manasseh. And thus he set Ephraim before Manasseh, and Israel said to Joseph, Behold, I am dying, but God will be with you and bring you back to the land of your fathers. Moreover, I have given to you one portion above your brothers, which I took from the hand of the Amorite with the sword and with my bow. And Jacob called his son and said, Gather together that I may tell you what shall befall you in these last days. Gather together your sons and hear the sons of Jacob and listen to your father. Reuben, you are my firstborn son, my might and the beginning of my strength, the excellence of dignity and the excellence of power, unstable as water. You shall not excel because you went up to your father's bed, then you defiled it. He went up to my couch. Simeon and Levi are brothers, instruments of cruelty in their dwelling place. Let not my soul enter their council, and let not my honor be united to their assembly. For in their anger they slew men, and in their self will they hamstrung an ox. Cursed be their anger, for it is fierce, and the wrath, for it is cruel. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel. Judah, you are whom your brothers shall praise. Your hand shall be on the neck of your enemies, and your father's children shall bow down before you. Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, you have gone up, and he bows down, and he lies as a lion, and as a lion, who shall rouse him? The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor the lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh comes, and to him shall be obedience of the people, binding his donkey to the vine, and his donkey's colt to the choice vine. He washed his garments in wine, and clothed in the blood of grapes. His eyes are darker than wine, and his teeth whiter than milk. Zebulun shall dwell by the haven of the seas, and he shall become a haven for ships, and his borders shall adjoin Sidon. Issachar is a strong donkey, lying down between two burdens. He saw rest that was good, and the land was pleasant. And he bound his shoulders to bear a burden, and he became a band of slaves. Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel. Dan shall be a serpent by the way, and a viper by the path that bites horses' heels, so that its riders shall fall backwards. I have waited for your salvation, O Lord. Gad shall be a tramp upon him, but he shall triumph at last. Bread from Asher shall be rich, and he shall yield royal dainties. Naphtali is a deer let loose. He uses beautiful words. Joseph is a fruitful bow by a well. His branches will run over a wall, and his arches have bitterly grieved him, and shot at him, and hated him. But his bow remained in strength, and his arm and his hands were made strong, and by the hand of the Almighty Jacob. From here is a shepherd's stone of Israel, by the God of your father, who will help you, and the Almighty who will bless you with the blessings from above, blessings of the deep that lie beneath, blessings of the breast and of the womb, the blessings of your father. The blessings of your father have excelled the blessings of my ancestors up to the uttermost bound in the everlasting hills. They shall be the land of Joseph and the crown of him who separated from his brothers. Benjamin is a ravenous wolf. In the mornings he shall devour the prey, and the night shall divide the spoil. All these are the 12 tribes of Israel, and this is what their father spoke to them and blessed them, and he blessed each one according to his own blessings. Then he charged them and said to them, I am gathered to my people, bury me with my fathers in the cave which is in the field of Ephron the Hittite, in the cave which Abraham bought with the field for Ephraim the Hittite as a possession for a burial place. They have buried Abraham and Sarah his wife there, and they have buried Isaac and Rebekah his wife there. I buried Leah, the field, the cave which is there for purchase for the sons of Heth. And when Jacob finished commanding his sons, he drew up his feet into the bed and breathed his last, and was gathered to his people. So Joseph fell on his father's feet and wept over him and kissed him. And Joseph commanded his servants and the physicians to embalm his father. So the physicians embalmed Israel. 40 days were required for him, for such were the days required for those who were embalmed. And the Egyptians mourned for him 70 days. And now, when the days of his mourning were past, Joseph spoke to the household of Pharaoh, saying, Now, if I have found favor in your eyes, please speak in the hearing of Pharaoh, saying, My father made me swear, behold, I am dying, and my grave, which I dug for myself, is in the land of Canaan, and there you shall bury me. And now, therefore, please let me go up and bury my father, and I will come back. And Pharaoh said, Go up and bury your father as he made you swear. So Joseph went up to bury his father, and he went up, and all his servants of Pharaoh, and the elders of his house, and the elders of the land of Egypt, as well as all of the house of Joseph, his brothers, and his father's house. Only the little ones and their flocks and their herds were left to stay in the land of Goshen, and they went up with him, both chariots and horsemen, and it was a very great gathering. Then they came to the threshing floor of Atad, which is beyond the Jordan, and they mourned there with a great and very solemn lamentation. And he observed 7 days of mourning for his father. And when the inhabitants of the land of Canaan saw the mourning at the threshing floor of Atad, they said, This is a deep mourning for the Egyptians. Therefore its name was called Abel Mizrah, which is beyond the Jordan. So his sons did for him just as he commanded them. For his sons carried him to the land of Canaan and buried him in the cave of the field of Machpelah before Mamre, which Abraham bought with a field from Ephraim the Hittite as the property for a burial place. And after he had buried his father, Joseph returned to Egypt, and he and his brothers and all who dwelt up buried with his fathers. And when Joseph's brothers saw that their father was dead, they said, Perhaps Joseph will hate us and may actually repay us for all the evil we did to him. So he sent a message to Joseph saying, Before your father died, he commanded, saying, Thus you shall say to Joseph, I pray that you please forgive the trespass of your brothers and their sin, for they did evil to you. Now please forgive their trespass of the servants of God your father. And Joseph wept when they spoke to him. Then his brothers also went and fell down before his face and said, Behold, we are your servants. And Joseph said to them, Do not be afraid, for am I in the place of God? But for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, in order that he might bring about as it is to this day, to save many people. Therefore now do not be afraid, and I will provide for you and your little ones. And he comforted them, and he spoke kindly to them. So Joseph dwelt in the land of Egypt, he and his father's household, and Joseph lived 110 years. And Joseph saw Ephraim's children to the third generation. The children of Machir, the sons of Manasseh, were also brought up on Joseph's knee. And Joseph said to his brother, I am dying, but God will surely visit you and bring you out of this land, in the land which he swore to swore to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And then Joseph took an oath from the children of Israel, saying, God will surely visit you, and he shall carry up my bones from here. So Joseph died, being 110 years old, and they embalmed him, and he was put in a coffin in Egypt.